Well, howdy doody, fantastically craptastic people of the internets. Here we are again for another episode of Love Beer Radio. What is this? What are we at now, Joe? What is this, 11 or 12? I have no idea.
Give me a second. I think we're at...
I think it's 12.
Episode 12. Yep.
Yeah, episode 12.
12 episodes.
12, look at that. Oh, I know.
Who
It's like,
thought?
Who would have thunk it? So we're hopefully you guys enjoy it. I mean, we're having fun doing it, so we're gonna keep doing it until somebody tells us we can't do it or we die. Very morbid intro, but this week's gonna be a little bit different. We're actually gonna be joined by Chris from Breaker Brewing, who's setting up, jumping in right now.
Who's coming in? Yep, there they are.
Yeah. So we're gonna be talking to these guys, local brewery. Local to me and Joe, super nice guys. Joe knows them much better than I do. So what's going on?
How's it going, guys?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Hey, here you are.
There.
All right.
Awesome. So how's that? Setting it up in a brew pub there? Yeah. You ever hook up to Google Hangouts before? Or is this a new thing?
No, it's first time. First time. We just set it up on one of our floating iPads that we use for a point of sale. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we're a warning. It's probably gonna crash at some point.
Your guys are gonna drop. Like,
yeah. Joe uses his iPad, and iPads like to crash.
You guys are gonna drop roughly every 20 minutes or so. I would.
Just click on the link that I sent you in an email, and you'll jump right back in.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Cool. So. Before we jump into that, Joe, we usually do like a little news segment here and talk about random bullshit. So what do you got, Joe? Anything happened to you this week? Any little tidbits of wisdom?
Nothing really. I got a little bit more of my my project beer, my Oktoberfest. I got that for free. So a bunch of people got to watch me walk into the brewery retail store and then get handed a 4-pack of beer and walk right out again.
That doesn't suck.
Nope.
Yeah. And that's about it. You're kind of winding down school-wise, yeah?
Yeah, it's really weird because last semester was like we were doing stuff constantly, and this semester is like, what? We don't have anything to do right now? Like, what's going on? So yeah. It's odd.
You're definitely ready for break, though, it seems like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, not that you don't love it. Just sometimes you just need a break, baby.
Yeah.
You know?
All right.
Just trying to think if anything awesome happened in a beer. I mean, it was pretty slow beer week. The only thing would be Goose Island. They did. Did you see that shit where they're putting their shit in like they're not going bombers on their Bourbon County line, but they're going like Schneider Aventina size or 16.9 ounce or whatever the hell they are.
I think I saw something like that, but
yeah, they're not doing 12 ounce no more. Yeah. I'm not a fan of that. It seems like they're just going to do that and then try to charge more or something like that. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah. All right.
Lead the way, Joe. What are we doing?
All right. So this is like kind of a sort of interview brewery spotlight. We don't have any beers from Breaker. I was home last weekend, but I would be if I picked up something, I'd be drinking a week-old growler at this point. So I don't think that would have been the best assessment. So we'll jump right into it and just kind of start talking about a little bit of like your guys' history. Like, how did you guys how'd you get into brewing?
Home brewing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We started home brewing 2004.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, we were talking about it for a while. Just one of those things where two friends hanging out, having a couple of beers.
Yeah.
And, we just kept talking about it. It's one of those things that it just kept coming up. We should make beer.
Who was the catalyst for it? Like, was it one of you guys getting a homebrew first, or you just kind of like started talking about it together, or did you meet via homebrew?
No, we've been friends for like 1990, 91.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We go way back. We used to work at a grocery store together a long time ago, and but I think it was over probably Sierra Nevada Pale Ale or something like that.
Yeah, it was.
We went through a lot of your Coors and Millers and all those things way back in the day when you were younger, and then we realized that craft beer is good.
Yeah. And was that your guys' gateway?
And then we went. We bought a homebrew kit from the local guy, and what did we do, about 8 or 9 of those kits?
Not even. It just was like a couple of them, and we just got tired of them, and we just went all grain after that. But I'd have to say it was Dogfish 60 that got us going. That really got us going, because we had Sierra Nevada, and it was a great beer. And we had 60, and it was kind of like a really, it was definitely an eye opener for us anyway.
Yeah, because you're just getting a similar, I wouldn't say similar beer, but just a whole different experience within the same kind of style thing. So you're like, oh, wait a minute, there's different delineations between whatever. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, we were building a small system. We had a cable system in my garage.
Oh, wait. This garage was built, and it had all intentions of a car going into it. That'd be his wife's car.
Yeah. And
we just kind of took it over. It all happened at the same time, so we just took it over. But she was with that garage for I don't know how many years.
Good couple of years, yeah. So we built it up. We had the homebrew system there. We were doing 10 gallons. And then we got a hold of some stainless steel 55-gallon drums, and we turned that into our barrel-and-a-half system. And at the same time we started building that, we said, let's try to make it commercial. So we went through all the hoops that you have to go through in Pennsylvania to start a brewery, and we got it running.
The catalyst behind that was there was never enough beer. We never had enough beer for us and our friends to enjoy.
Yeah.
And every time we would release a beer, all our friends would come over and drink it on us. So we just kept going bigger and bigger. And
so that we had that. We opened up in 2009, I think it was, when we first started selling commercially.
Still in the garage, right?
Yeah.
In the garage, yeah. And after the first year, we upgraded our system to a 3-barrel system, which we're still using today. We had about, I think we were about 25, 30 bars we were dealing with, all out of my garage. We had a walk-in cooler and everything in there. It was pretty tight.
How much a square foot? Let's give you guys an idea.
It's like 18 by 35.
And the room that we just have
that is
the brewery in, the brew house, is in a room now that's 30 by 30.
Yeah.
So the cooling is in another room that's 30 by 30. And the grain is in another room that's 30 by 30.
Yeah.
So we're definitely a lot more
luxurious now. It's like, all this room.
Yeah.
Not really, but.
Yeah. It's all stacked up. There's a lot of steps here, though.
Yeah.
So anyway, we found this old church and school, came up on the market, and we hopped on it. It was a little bit of a process to buy it, but we got it. They had to do a lot of work to it just to get things going. Things are going now. We're finally talking about a 10 or a 15-barrel system.
So now the church itself will be converting that over for a new brew house. All the brewing will be, hopefully, inside of a year in the next building.
Yeah.
So this building will just be primarily brew pub.
So you're going to separate the two, just do brew pub and then brewery, but right next to each other, but it's just separate, right?
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
Just for more space.
Yeah.
So will you guys still be using the system that's in the brew pub now, along with the 10-barrel, or are you gonna?
We'll probably keep it going.
It depends on the week when you ask us, but and right now our brewery is in the same room as our kitchen, and our kitchen is expanding. So I think they want us out.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what goes on there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the end, you'll probably keep it, use it for experimental stuff, and to do your core line on the bigger stuff, I would imagine, right?
That sounds like the plan.
Yeah.
It's a good little system. I mean, we built it ourselves out of some tanks and things that we found on eBay. That's how everything we do, we usually end up building ourselves. Although I'm hoping for this new 10 or 15 barrel system, we're just going to buy it.
It'll be nice just to call someone up and say, hey, can you do
it? Oh yeah, yeah. But also the old ones, like it's like your first car. You don't want to get rid of it, man. You love it so much. You put so much time. You've been through so many ups and downs. You just can't dump her off, No.
It'll probably stay in place because it works really well. So.
Just a lot of steps. Keeps you active.
Yeah, for those who don't know, right now we're in the old school building, which is an old Catholic school. So it's a four-room schoolroom. So up above on the second floor is our grain handling. On the, I guess it'd be like the first floor is our brew system, and then in the basement is where we do all our cellaring. So when we're talking about steps, it's constantly running up and down steps.
Every one of these steps, every one of these rooms requires steps to get into it. Even if it's on like the main level, it requires steps to get into it.
So you're not talking about steps like metaphorically, like, oh, there's steps processes to the brew. No, there's a lot of actual physical stepping going on.
Yeah.
Nice.
When did you guys start the move out of the garage and into the schoolhouse now?
Yeah, what did that entail? Like banks, the whole nine, like family wise, like everything about it.
I don't know if we saw our family for that first year that often. Like we'd send them a postcard and things.
Well, at the time we were still working 2 jobs, so we both had our engineering jobs at Frontier. And we kept that going for as long as we had to. But the move from the garage to over here, it was just basically a lot of prep work. We had to we tiled the area, tile floor drains, heat, cooling. It was a lot of work, think about it. And then transferring the license with the state, well, it wasn't terrible, it just was a long process.
We were working on a tile in the summer, previous to opening. So it took almost a full year from just working on just moving the brewery over. It took probably about a full year.
Yeah. The actual physical moving of the brewery, that was easy.
Yeah, we had everything ready to go by then. We just put it in the back of the truck and brought it over.
No, what was, you guys are in an old schoolhouse, and I would assume that people around you, like, remember when that schoolhouse and probably have been went through school there. What was the kind of community reaction to you guys putting a brewery in here now?
99% of the people think it's great. You get that 1%, they still think that it should be a school or still should be a church or something like that. But
they're hoping for things not to change, but we didn't change them. It was already changed. The church it wasn't a church anymore. And the school was already abandoned for, 10 years?
Yeah, the last year they had class in this building was 1971, but then they used it for other things after.
Yeah, but even the CCD was probably 10 years since they used it for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all subjective, too, because if you look at it, it is a school and a church. It's all about beer and learning about beer and the gospel of beer. So really it is a church and a school still, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, we were looking for a stained glass window of St. Arnold, which is the patron saint of brewers. But they didn't have that, but they had a Father Arnold's Hall. I don't know if it was related or not, but it's got to be a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Now, I know recently Pennsylvania passed a whole pint in a brewery law. Does that affect you guys in any way? Like, you don't have to apply for a specific license, or you just kind of fucked because you paid a lot of money to serve beer in your place?
Yeah. I don't know this year when it comes time to renew our license. I don't know what's going to be involved with it, because do we have to pay for a separate brew pub license now? Because right now it's the brewery license and the pub license, which are 2 separate things. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. I didn't look into it yet. I'm sure when they send us the invoice, we'll look into it.
Oh yeah, and they'll definitely send you an invoice.
But the thing is, I think having the full-on the brew pub with the food and everything, and we've changed up our menu quite a bit the last month or so. That's what's really getting people. A lot of people come down, but then they won't stay. So we have, if you just had 10 seats and a couple bags of chips, business-wise, you will get people, but you're not going to get people to stay.
What we noticed was, they'd come in, people would come in and they would have a few beers, and then they'd be looking for something else to eat. I mean, we did have a menu, but it wasn't as full as it is now. And since we changed the menu up, it seems that has increased. People they start here and they finish here.
Yeah.
Well, talk about that for a second. You guys were doing, like you said, basically it was pretty much paninis, maybe a side soup or a salad or something like that. Was it? Now you brought in a local chef, and you started to expand the menu with tapas and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And the tapas encompass basically anything that he comes up with. We had New York strip, we've had lobster, we've had
Shrimp.
It just, whatever, we kind of gave him free reign to just go crazy and do some Iron Chef America stuff. So,
Okay.
so he's going nuts with that. That's working out pretty well.
And have you seen a difference, like you were saying before, people would come in, but it would be more like a higher turnover rate. People come in for a couple beers and then move on. Have you seen people coming there more like an event, like they're coming there to eat and hang out and spend an hour or so?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The specials that we make every week, they run out on a daily basis. So everything that we're doing, everybody's buying it, and we're getting really good feedback on social media and everything about it. So it's definitely working. The thought with it was, like, we change up our beers almost weekly. Not at least there's usually at least 1 or 2 new beers every week that we come out with. And the same thought was with the food, to do that too, keep the food changing. I think people really appreciate
style. So now, say you go out with a friend, instead of you picking something to eat and them picking something to eat, now you get like 3 different things, and you just split them all.
Yeah.
And
nice.
And it's kind of like a flight of food instead of, so you could have a flight of beer and a flight of food also.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love tapa style stuff. It's always been one of my favorite things, because even when I go out with friends, we usually order one big thing. We all kind of pick off each other's plate, so it's kind of like that thing where you like you said, you're enjoying a bunch of stuff at once instead of like a singular meal, which is more communal, a lot more group oriented as opposed to singular.
Yep, and that's what's right. Awesome. But going back to that new law that says all you have to have is 10 seats and a couple bags of chips. All right, it's kind of cool, but in the scheme of an actual business where you're trying to generate revenue, it will work, but it may not work completely. But it will, at least they'll get you started, without having to go through so many hoops.
Do you think it's better? Do you think it's better for you what you went through, or you prefer the law to be there when you originally started?
Well, it would be a lot easier if the law was already enacted. We would be able to. We would have started a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm glad everything worked out the way it worked out now, because our kitchen is becoming just as much a part of what Breaker Brewing Brew Pub is our beer right now, because people are getting excited for the food too. And it might not.
And then you were talking earlier. You're talking earlier about expansion, like expanding. Do you actually have like an idea of when you're going to expand?
Well,
or you're just kind of tossing the idea around right now.
No,
it's more of a. It's not a toss anymore. We are now we're actively working at it.
Yeah.
So, like I said before, I would expect inside of a year for a new system to be, if not fully installed, to be well on its way to being installed.
Yeah.
Because as an outlaw, as a person that's, you know what I mean, I work, my day job is exactly the guys, your hours are open, so I don't get to go to your place whenever I want, because you guys aren't open when I'm off, and that's your fault. Not mine. And when I have days off, I do go there. But the one thing I have seen is that the biggest complaint I've heard about your brewery is that they can't get your beer other than your place. And I know you were in bars, and you guys had to pull back a bit when you open a brew pub, not because you didn't want people to have your beer, just because you sell that much of it. Is that why you're kind of going forward with more expansion, because you've basically maxed out? Like you're not even producing enough beer, basically. You have to expand, right?
Pretty much, yeah. We're not 100% maxed out, but the ability to do extra kegs for bars, the extra beer for bottling, things like that, we would have to brew a lot more. And yeah, I guess it
gets really hectic when, like, say, a couple weeks ago, Chris and I were on a vacation, and that hasn't happened in years. But when we got back, we played catch up, and we're still playing catch up, and it's pretty rough on the size system that we have.
Yeah.
Like that. So now, say we wanted to service those bars again, all those bars, the amount of brewing that we would have to do, like the brew schedule would just be insane, and a lot of times, being that it's in the same room with the kitchen, it kind of overlaps sometimes, and you guys are, kind of dancing around each other. So we definitely need to expand. It's just a matter of when and soon.
There's a few loose ends in this building that we want to tie up. We opened up our patio this summer, so we got outdoor seating. We have a front, depending on your perspective, it's either a front or a new back room, and we're building building a bar. It's actually the front of the building, but we call it the back room. Anyway, but we're going to put another bar with 8 more taps there, basically mimic the tap room that we have now, but just break down the hall to give, once the fall hits, I think we're going to get pretty crowded. Right now we're able to filter some people out to the patio, and the rest of them are inside, and we have a space already. So as soon as we get that done, I think, and then it's on the brewery, the new brewery system. I mean, part of it is just getting the building ready. I mean, it's just an old church with wood floors where we have to pull those out, pour concrete pads, drainage, all that type of stuff. So it's a lot of planning and getting ready. It's gonna be fun.
So, like, before you guys moved to the schoolhouse, like, how many bars in the area were you in?
I think we maxed out about 30 bars.
Yeah, 27 to 30.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever counted because there'd be bars opening, bars closing, things like that.
Yeah.
But at any given time, I think it was probably about 30 bars, 25, 30 bars that we were in. But then you deliver some bars, and then they don't, then you go back, they call a couple months later for a new cake. So, but like there was at least like 25 or 30 places that you could go to and get our beer at one time, until we open up the pub here, and everything goes right out of our own taps.
Yeah. You guys were saying you're able in the summer to at least like kind of filter people around. I've noticed that a little bit more. Being there in the fall. I went there with my mom. It was the first time she went there. I'm like, all right, we got to go early. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, we got to go early. And we get there for like right when you guys open up, and then maybe half hour, 45 minutes later, she's like, okay, yeah, I understand why you said we have to come early because the place is packed and there's not a seat to be had. Do you expect those kind of problems again in the fall?
I hope so.
That'd be a nice problem, but with the
it is a nice. I say problem very loosely.
Yeah, with the front room done, and we do have room upstairs still. Want to use it? A whole other room where we can make a lounge or something, and for private parties and events and things like that.
But this fall we should at least be double the size of what we are now, with the amount of seating that we have. So at least that's going to help out quite a bit. Yeah. And we plan to keep the patio open as long as possible.
Yeah, they want to build some snowmen.
And you guys were. And you pulled back. Do you guys still do kegs? You don't do kegs anymore to bars. It's just all in house, pretty much at this point, or select every now and then, or.
I think usually if they call, I think there's about 5 or 6 bars right now that we keep delivering to. They're pretty much local ones in Wilkes-barre here. And we'll keep delivering to those guys, but that's about it. We're not.
It's not to say that we're not. If someone calls us up, we won't sell them a cake. It's not to say that at all. It's just we're not actively pursuing that now because we don't want it. Okay, have a new bar on, and they want a beer, and we can't get it for them. They're getting upset with us. So we're trying to keep it back until we scale up. Yep.
And as far as you mentioned bottling, I know, like, what do you guys do? Is it 3? I know you do Bell Snickler, Black Mariah. Is there one more that you guys do, or is those the
pumpkin,
2?
The Potbelly Pumpkin.
Okay. And then are you looking to expand from that, or is it, again, that's more like a thing where you need to expand internally first before you start bottling more stuff?
We were just talking about that.
I think we're gonna do our lunch pale ale, basically our pale ale. And we're going to do that in cases of 24 12-ounce bottles.
That's your flagship beer, right?
Pretty much.
If you were to consider what,
Yep. So that, because we got to order a case of, we're just talking about a pumpkin. It's time to brew, in the next week or 2, it's time to brew the pumpkin. I don't want to put it out there yet, but we definitely have to start brewing it and getting it ready and getting it in the bottles.
We were always late. We're historically late with everything.
Actually, no, you're right on time with pumpkin. Everybody else is too fucking early.
That's right. But yeah, we're going to do get some labels together and get some regular cases of beer of Lunch Pail out. That's going to be like our first, it's a little experiment with it. And then of course we'll do pumpkin and we'll do Bell Snickler and bomber bottles like we usually do. We just picked up a bourbon barrel. So we're going to do bourbonize some of our Bell Snickler this year.
Yeah, buddy.
Nice.
We'll be brewing Bell Snickler this week, and that half of that batch will be going into the barrel.
So you're gonna sit down in a full year, like till?
We're thinking 6 months.
Okay.
6 months. Release it right around the end of December, right around Christmas time. We'll just be
get it out there.
Bell Snickler, and we'll have a limited supply of the bourbon barrel aged.
Now, I actually have a question about Bell Snickler for you, though, because I've always, what do you guys, I've seen it classified as a couple different styles of beer. What would you guys classify it as?
That's a tough call.
It's loosely based on like a Belgian quad.
Yeah, if a Belgian quad had a sex with a winter warmer, that's kind of like the vibe I always got off of it.
Yeah, I wouldn't go just winter warmer also because it has those Belgian quad esque taste to it. So it's kind of a tough one to pigeonhole, but
which is not a bad thing. I mean, it's good, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's it's one of those beers that we like to brew because it's a fun beer to brew, and it's a nice one because it's also fun to drink. So there's
get you in trouble.
We have a friend of ours that likes it, and you can't walk away from your glass for a second because he'll top you right back up with it. Yeah. So it's a fun beer to be around.
Yeah. But, yeah, that'll be coming up soon. It's amazing. Since we left our day jobs a year and a couple of months ago, it's funny how fast time goes. I mean, we're talking about. It seems like the summer was just getting started. We're already talking about fall and winter beers already, and it's you have to be in this business. You have to be on time with that, and you don't think about that. It's like you're rushing the season, and it's like, oh, let's just enjoy the summer right now. But you gotta be 3 steps ahead, which is it's deep, but don't know where the time goes. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's It's got to be. I mean, I would say with the transition for bring us back to that. Actually, talk about leaving your day jobs. That had to be. Was that the hardest thing you've done in the whole process? That being able to just be okay, we're fucking all in. We're pushing the chips.
In the boats.
It was. It was. I mean, it was definitely an awesome feeling and scary at the same time. I mean, we're both married. We both have young kids, so families that we have to take care of. So it was definitely scary. But I think the way we started, some people will, they want to go all in and start the business, and we just put it all on the line. But we started slow and small, out of the garage.
We're not gamblers.
To be conservative, yeah.
So every step that we took, including this new system that we're putting in, we always wait until, as far as we're concerned, the time is right. A lot of people say, how do you know that? Because you're not taking that much of a risk at that point.
Yeah.
And when it came to jumping ship from our old job, that it's we didn't get to fail at that point. You can't fail at that point because you have your kids, you have you have mortgages, you have things like that. So it was kind of responsibilities. Tons of responsibilities that you just couldn't fail on. So you had to do that or something else. You just had to swim or sink at that point.
Now, do you guys feel you're a unique brewery in an aspect? Because it seems like a lot of people are trying to expand as quickly as humanly possible, and whereas you guys have been super calculated. If I were from an outsider's perspective, it seems like you guys are very, very purposeful in the steps that you take. It's like you were saying, what you're okay. Let's do this, and then wait a while. Let's do this. You're not I can name 17 breweries that are just trying to be as big as they can possibly be right out the chute. You guys seem to be taking it slow, and that's not a negative. I think that's a positive. Do you think that's unique to you guys? Because I don't see it that much. Everybody just wants to be the next big guy on the block.
There's a lot of times where you get impatient with things and you just want to be there, but I don't. Like I said, we're not gamblers, we always have the same mentality where everything's kind of paced at what we can expand at. You know, like you can kind of forecast out the next 2 years and pie in the sky about it, or you could just forecast out the next 3 months. And okay, we'll probably be here in 3 months. It's easier to read that way.
Yeah.
And just kind of take it in chunks, slow but sure. And that's been working for us so far. I'd have to say that's the way it's probably going to be till we're done brewing beer. And we're not going to be done.
No. Yeah, and the thing is, if you start off with this big system, and it's a lot to pay for, but you make mistakes along the line, like because nobody knows everything going into this business, so you have to learn it. Kind of learn it on your own. So if you start off small, you make small mistakes, and it's not that big of a deal. And if you start off huge and you destroy a batch of beer, and it's like instead of a couple $100, it's a couple $1,000 like thrown away. So I mean, starting off small in that respect, I think was good for us also.
It'd be like jumping into a 50-barrel system right now. That wouldn't be for us to do right now. That would just, you are just taking such a big gamble there. If we increase, say from a 7 to a 10 barrel now, that's okay. That's a little better. It's something we're a little over doubling our capacity, but at the same time, we can still brew smaller batches, things like that. When you have like a 50-barrel batch, and it's got to be able to A, move, and B, you got to turn them over quickly if we're to stay the kind of brewery that we like to be, which is we can come out with beers once a week, and that's what we've been doing for the last since we opened this place.
Yeah, last 2 years. When we were back in the garage, we had about 6 or 8 beers that we brewed throughout the whole year. We just did the same ones over and over. But up here, having the customer come right to us and try this beer, like we'll turn, it'll be gone in a week or 2 weeks. That 3-barrel batch of it that we had, and that's perfect. And I think people appreciate that. They want to try something new every time they come in here. And I think years ago, the mentality was different. They wanted, if you had a pale ale from a certain brewery, and if you didn't make it the same way every single time, they got mad at you. But now, customers come in, the first thing they say, what's new? Or what do you have? Or what didn't you brew in a long time and you're bringing it back, or something like that. And,
I feel like with that, like a lot of people, at least around us, like we kind of know what lunch pail tastes like. We know what like iHeartPA and 5 Whistle and all that kind of stuff tastes like. It's like, all right, let's see what you guys can do with that kind of with those recipes now, like especially with the firkins and stuff that you guys have been doing. Yeah,
and that's. And I imagine once we get over into the other side, on the new facility, once we get everything opened up and running, there will be the staples that we put out and put in bottles and ship out, things like that. But I think we'll always just play around with experimental small batches, because that's what's fun. If you had to brew the same kind of beer every day, I think that'd probably get boring.
That's the firkin, that's one of the best things to do throughout the week, because now you can try. Basically use your runners. It's only we actually use a pin most of the time, but if we say pin, a lot of people don't understand what we're saying, which is just a smaller firkin.
Well, smaller cask.
Yeah.
But you can kind of, like last week we did a banana split for Saturday, and that was just Dutch cocoa, vanilla beans, and cherries lining the bottom of it while we filled it with our banana nut beer.
That was a good one too.
Yeah, if people were loving it, then it's cool.
It seemed off the wall, but it was like you're drinking ice cream. It was good.
That probably went over what you're saying.
It did. That was gone like within about 2 or 3 hours.
Nice.
How long do those casks usually last, you guys? Like once you tap them, how long are they there before they're out?
We'll keep it on our bar until it's gone. And it usually
that day we'll keep it on that day.
Yeah,
it's gone. Once
But they end up kicking by the end of the day. I mean, it's only 5 gallons, but it's there's been a couple of odd ones that
the Cajun watermelon from last year. A lot of people asked us to bring it back. It was Cajun spices, and then we added our watermelon beer to it, and I liked it, but there was a lot of people that, it was definitely different.
They were afraid of that.
But that's the fun of the Firkin. You can do...
Can you kind of tell, like, when you're coming up with these ideas, like, what's really going to be, what's going to be pretty hot and what's, like, people are going to be like, I don't know, and then try it and go, all right, this is actually really good?
Yeah, some of the ideas that we had weren't the greatest.
You learn a lot along the way. Like an ESB does not do well with fruit.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what fruit it is, it does not do well with fruit.
I feel like an ESB would just be like, here's the cask of it, and just do it like super traditional,
It does well with coffee though.
Yes. Does it? Almost any beer with coffee in it. That seems to work really well.
You think that's just because people are used to bitter coffee, or?
I don't know. It's just an ASB with I don't know, with the coffee. It makes it such a good beer. I mean, it has such a balance. I mean, you have the bitterness from the coffee, but then an ESB, although whatever the name says, they're really not the most bitter beers I've ever had.
Yeah.
And so it's more of a bready beer than anything, and it kind of balances out the bitterness of the coffee. So
Now, you guys were talking about earlier about dumping batches. Not necessarily like dumping batch or beer related or like brewing related. What was the biggest fucking nightmare you guys faced since you started brewing, whether it be in the garage or actually at the place? Like whether it be something blowing up or something catching on fire or whatever.
Actually, just recently, our brew system is. It's run off electric, so we have 5,500 watt low density electric elements in there for the boiling, and one of the elements just popped the other day, and it immediately ruins the batch of beer because it puts this. I don't even know how to explain it.
I would explain it as perm solution.
So we were doing our wheat beer. It was last week actually.
Electricity and beer doesn't work.
No.
Like when they're connected together, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But that, I think, that's probably the biggest thing, because then it's like, we've had elements die, but nothing happened to it. So then you got to transfer you got to quick clear out the mash tun, transfer everything back over to the, back into the mash tun, fix it, transfer it back. It just makes a long day. But I mean, we haven't, other than those things, and that's really unforeseeable. I mean, we probably should have been changing the elements out every couple of months just to be on the safe side. But
we've been increasing our brewing anyway, especially since we got back from.
But other than that, I mean, no major. Have hose breaks here and there. Equipment dies and gets ruined and stuff like that, but nothing totally disastrous where you may just want to like stop brewing or anything like that.
Would you guys, when you're looking to get this bigger system to go into the church, would you look to move away from electric, or would you stick with the electric?
I'd like to. I think steam.
Yeah, jacketed would probably be the way to go. Something that's a little more balanced. It's not like we see a problem with the electric. I mean, actually, I was the biggest skeptic of electric elements going into it, and I couldn't. We were originally gas-fired, and I couldn't perceive a difference. If anything, I actually thought it was better, and it's 100% efficient because all the heat is going into your beer instead of going up the chimney.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad way to heat it, but I think jacketed. I think we both agree jacketed would be the best way to go, just because you'll have that balance of heat all around the beer.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? What's the favorite beer going right now? Non your staple beers. Is there one beer you're producing now that people are like really like into? Because I was in there a couple weeks ago. Your 16 ton. I was like I love that beer. Let's put it that way. I love that.
We're both looking that way. That's our taps are right over there. So see what's on. I think we did one. We called it British, like BRIT-ISH.
It's British.
and what it was an English-style IPA brewed with an English-style yeast, but also some West Coast hops. So it had...
the West Coast took over a little bit.
Yeah. It's not really a British
They do.
IPA at all, but that's why we said British. Right now, that on tap is probably the one I've been going to mostly. Also have our...
We had our G-Town week, which
Oh, yeah.
was berries picked from the Georgetown mountain behind us, with mulberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. And that one went out insanely fast, like insanely fast. We definitely have to do it again, but that'll probably be next year. But
Seasonal.
Yeah. That we have our Goldie's Double Blonde on again. That's one of those ones. It's a good beer. It's 7.5%. So.
But we've been doing what we call the Detonator series of IPAs, and it's basically we're trying all different kinds of hops from all over the planet, and just seeing the difference between these hops and how they. I would say the base beer is very similar in all.
And the hop schedule changes.
And just the hop schedule and the type of hops. And it's really wild the way they turn out and the different tastes you can get from
Are they all single hop beers, or are you using a blend in there?
A blend of different hops. Although we have done some single hop IPAs. We did it all.
We did that last year.
We did I forget which ones we did.
We did all CZT, all citrus, all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fun to do too. But
this you get some more complex flavors out of the hops that. You'll get flavors of like different fruits. Like the last one we did, the only thing we could explain it as was passion fruit and maybe pineapple, just because it's like that one was mosaic hops and it started with the topaz, and it did when mixed together they produce such insanely different tastes than going with a single hop.
Have you guys had issues, or has there been a hop that you've been like wanting to really fuck with but you can't get, or has there been any issues
Lemon
with
drop.
you guys getting hop? What?
Lemon drop.
Can't get it?
That's my Eleanor. I can't get it. It's just to
the point now where you want it even more because you can't get it and it's becoming an obsession?
Yep, pretty much.
I haven't even heard of this hop.
The lemon drop?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a wild hop. I've had a beer with it before.
I had a couple, yeah.
It's wild. I like it. I like just like the amount of lemon that it adds to the beer. And it's not I haven't seen it where it was overpowering at all. I just think it just works. So I want lemon drop, and then I want to do an all lemon drop, and then try mixing it. Who knows what we get
as soon as we find some.
Yeah. Once we find it, everybody will have it, and I won't want it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this the case with that hop where like it's contracted out for X amount of years to everybody, or is it just something that like really no one knows about, so there's not as much of a demand for it, and
all the bigger
really
breweries are buying it up. Like Stone had their was the beer that they had with that. It was I think it was one of their Enjoy buys. I'm pretty sure, and they used the lemon drops. And I think they just hogged them all.
Yeah.
God damn it, Stone.
Has there been a recipe for you guys that you've had to like really hone in and tweak like multiple times, before it was like something that you really liked?
I think our I Love PA.
Yeah, it constantly changes.
Because we're so small, we don't contract a lot of hops because they want you to contract by huge amounts, more than we'd be able to use. So we're buying spot hops like here and there wherever we could get them. And we did play around with the I Love PA.
And it's just because we can't get the hops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we haven't even brewed that one in a long time.
No.
Although we do have, we got some fresh Cascade hops from one of our patrons that comes in here all the time. Just gave us a big bag full of them, and I got a whole bunch growing up the side of my house. I'm going to pick again this year. So we'll be doing our wet hop I Love PA. And then whatever else we have left over, we'll run them through our Randall or do something with them. But that's always fun, yeah.
Has there been one beer that you guys made and you're like, okay, well, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is going to go over, and it fucking took the fuck off, or conversely, there was a beer you're like, this is going to fucking crush it. Everybody's going to love this shit, and you're like, nothing. Nobody likes this beer.
The Blackberry Jalapeno.
Yeah.
I was going to say that. I was going to say probably like the Mind Fire was like either a little iffy or no one liked it.
Most people don't know what to think, and they're sometimes I think they're afraid to try it because you get those pepper beers that are out there and they're just over the top. It's not even enjoyable.
They're just hot sauce. That's all they are.
Yeah, and that's not. I mean, I guess if that's what you like, I mean that's cool, but you're not going to sit around and enjoy a couple pints of hot sauce. I mean, I wouldn't. but this, we had the idea for Mindfire jalapeno beer, and it was like the last minute. Mark said, "Let's add blackberries," and I was like, "All right." So you have some sweetness, and then you have the heat, and it's not too much heat, but it's enough that you know it's there, and you could smell them both at the same time.
But that was a risk doing that beer, just because we didn't know what to expect. It was the first time using a pepper in a beer, so. You don't know how much to use. You don't know, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So, and then the funny thing with that is how much to use. This year we had peppers, and they weren't as hot, so we had to use more peppers. And what this last batch we added
one habanero.
Habanero, yeah, just to change it up. But I think this last batch of Mindfire that we have out on tap right now I think it's one of our best tasting ones that we've done. And again, that was a weird going back to what you said, we weren't sure about it when we put it out there. We thought this is going to be neat, and then when it's gone, people are constantly asking about it. So I'm trying to think if there's something that we put out that was just not. Yeah, some of the some beers they fly out of here real quick. Some of them will last a while. People love them. What do we do? We do some sour beers every once in a while. Now the people that love them. Some people.
My friend Chris.
Yeah,
I said my friend Chris.
Yeah. And I got what did we do? A sour pear. Well, sour pear was one that everybody liked, but then we decided to do a sour cherry porter.
That one was really good.
And a lot of people liked it, but then a lot of people were afraid of it. They wouldn't go.
They saw cherry porter win at it and totally didn't even look at the first part of the name, which says sour, and they would be like, why is this so sour? It's like it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's a sour beer.
And speaking of sours, it's almost time. I have this pear tree right next to my yard. My neighbor lets me take all the pears off this, so we get buckets.
Your neighbor doesn't even know.
Yeah, just take them. So we'll be doing the sour pear again in the next couple of weeks. I think that'll be a nice fall beer, and we have a bunch of ideas for different fall beers.
Let's talk about that. What do you guys have coming out of the chute? What's not just stuff that you've done before, but maybe something new. Do you have any? What do you got going on?
We have a peach wheat that's coming out. It's the first time we've done a peach beer.
It's going to be brewed with peaches and vanilla. So it's going to be like a peaches and cream wheat beer. Was that Kyle's idea? It might have been Kyle's.
I don't know.
Maybe not. I don't know.
But then we're also going to do a cherry wheat.
People,
the wheats have been going so well, and we just have to stay on top of them in order to keep one on tap here. And as I look now, there's not one on tap here.
Right.
So I guess that the last one we had is gone also. So that's one thing I've seen take off quite a bit was the wheat beers.
Yeah.
It's usually the IPAs are your fastest sellers, and since summer hit, wheat has been very, very tough to keep on tap. But we were just trying different things with that. As for future beers, we kind of talk about them like a week in advance.
Yeah.
So,
I think.
Come on, there has to be shit you have tumbling in your head that you've been waiting to fucking unleash that you're going to be doing. Don't act like you're not thinking about it.
There is. I think we'll do some kind of harvest ale this year. Instead of just our pumpkin. And then somebody at the bar the other day was asking us to do something with apples. Maybe make some kind of, not necessarily a cider, but something like an apple type of beer. We did it a little bit last year. It was okay. It was what was the beer that was based off of? I don't know. We have one called Daybreak Orange, which was oranges and vanilla. It was kind of like a creamsicle.
It was basically a blonde.
Yeah, it was a blonde ale with that. But then we changed it up. We put apples in it. But maybe we'll do something like that. Maybe an apple wheat or something.
What beers we would like to do? I think before the end of the year, I'd like to do a imperial stout.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
I don't think we've ever really done.
We haven't. Not an imperial stout.
We did our Old King Cole. It wasn't think we ended up once, didn't we?
Nah, it was about 7%, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, what's up? Like, if you guys like, do you have like? Don't give me the bullshit. Like, I like all beer. But do you guys have a favorite style? Like, is there like the one that really you guys love the most, or is it IPA?
Yeah, it's IPAs.
Both
I mean,
of you?
that's why. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I mean, at any given time, we usually have 3, 4, sometimes even 5 IPAs on our. We have 10 taps here, and sometimes 5 of them are IPAs. That's what we like.
Yeah. It's just. I like the complexity of the hops. Like, you get a lot of complex beers, and they're typically every one of them is stout, porter, this, that. I like the nuances you get with just mixing the hops like we've been doing the past couple of weeks. It's wild that there's so many varieties out there of this plant, and how much different they could actually be.
Yeah. And every week it's like 9 new ones come out, and like you can't even keep up with. Like, it's to the point where hops now have like number codes instead of names.
Yeah.
You don't even know what the fucking name them. They're like, yeah, spam 186785.
Hey, that's lemon drop.
No.
Oh, see?
So
I think that was an area code I lived in once, but.
So does that, like, your favorite style being IPAs? Does that kind of go over into your brewing? Like, is that IPAs are now the style that you prefer to brew?
Well, I mean, we do like to brew them, along with any, there's a balance that you have to keep on the taps to keep everybody happy. I mean, the IPAs, a lot of people love IPAs, and we're not, that's a no-brainer for us. But it seems like you always have to have some kind of, we'll call it like a sweeter beer, which will be, say, our ESB, or like we just had our banana nut bread ale on, something like that's not hoppy. And then the wheat beers, but there's a combination that you have to have.
But in saying that, but brewing Bellsnicklet, brewing the Black Mariah, stuff like that, that you get psyched about that just as much as you get psyched about brewing a different IPA, because it's actually a more complex beer to do than say something that is easy as a standard wheat beer.
Yep.
Or something, just something that doesn't have as much going into it.
I think our sours are fun to make, because it's a couple of day process to do that. We do a sour mash, and so we tie up our mash tun for like 3 or 4 days, just letting it soak and sour. So that's a neat one. When you brew it though, it's got a pretty terrible smell.
What's the most?
I've opened
Go
my
ahead,
mash tun after a couple of days of just being lazy, and it smells terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your most challenging beer? Like, not necessarily the most like complicated to make, but one beer you're just like, you have to fucking like just put in work. You know what I mean? Like pumpkin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always seems to get a stuck mash.
Yep.
It's year after year.
We mash with the pumpkin, and that's where it just makes goop.
It's like, every year.
That's why either the answers to those questions are either pumpkin or rye. Those are usually the two fucking answers to those fucking questions.
Yeah, the pumpkin. That's not so fun, and we complain about it every year. I mean, I like to make it.
Yeah.
I love to drink it. It's just something always happens with it. I mean, it ends up getting done, and it gets done right, but it's
a long day. I mean, when it's time to you have kind of a mentality going in to brew that beer that day, where today's not going to be super easy. It's just going to be a day. So you just gotta.
But still fun.
Yeah.
Have you ever had anything like, you went into a brew thinking one thing, and then once it was all said and done, it turned out to be something else. Like it just turned out different than what you were expecting it to be.
How do you mean?
Like, you say, I'm going to, like, for example, I went to make an IPA a couple weeks back, and it didn't ferment out as much as I would have liked. Still tasted really good, so now I'm calling it a red ale. Have you ever had anything like that?
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I know early on, I mean, we brewed a lot home brewing wise way back in the day, and we screwed up a lot of stuff just learning. since we were doing it more commercially, not really to the point where it didn't turn out, so we had to change it to something completely different. Well,
sometimes you just don't hit the alcohol level that you want it to hit with a certain beer. Like 16 ton is always a beer. You're always sweating bullets going into that one just to make sure that you're going to extract the amount of sugar that is required to make that kind of alcohol happen. But other than that,
you know what? Actually, our Goldie's Blonde Ale was a goof up the one day. Wasn't thinking about it, and I added an extra 55-pound bag of grain. So instead of being our 4% blonde ale, it ended up being our 7% blonde ale. We were calling it Goldie's Extra. And then we brewed it again. It's on tap. It's 7.5%. But just a couple of months ago, we brewed it, but we made it into like a triple. So it ended up being like 9.5%. But that was the total mistake. So it was still a blonde ale, but it turned into a high octane blonde ale. And people liked it better than our regular blonde ale. So we haven't actually made Goldie's the regular recipe in years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess in that respect, yeah, we've done that. But,
So if you guys were to give one piece of advice, just one, to someone looking to jump from their garage to a brewery, what would it be? Silence.
No, there's a lot of.
I'm joking.
You're gonna get the typical canned answer you hear is like,
Money.
Yeah, money.
Give it 110%.
Yeah.
Money, and give a shit. Besides those two.
Well, yeah. You guys probably read through pro brewer forums. I do all the time. Mark does, and you always see the people asking advice. Can I start off on a 2-barrel or a 3-barrel brewery? Can you make money? Can you do this? Can you do that? Or then people will say, no, you can't do that. You got to start off with a 10-barrel system, or you're never going to make it. Well, we got this whole place up and running on a 3-barrel system, and we're making it. We haven't had to fire ourselves yet. So
no, we're okay.
But I'd say don't necessarily. You read a lot of stuff, but before you actually go out and do it yourself, don't buy into it, I guess. Like, you could start off on a small system and you could make it. It's definitely possible. Although I would say get the biggest system that you can, because you'll be working a lot harder. We worked really, really, really hard, a lot of hours, especially when we had our 1.5-barrel system. And we do now with the 3-barrel system. But I'd say, go as big as you can, if you can.
If someone's going to leave their garage,
yeah.
My question I have for that question is, are they already selling beer out of their garage?
And that's actually one of the weird things, because you guys did that for a while, so that's kind of unique to you guys. So you almost had like a customer base going into opening,
So
which is a little bit unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like what you guys are saying is take as much information as you possibly can, but don't take it as fucking written rule. Just use it as a guideline to fucking actually heed it, but don't adhere to it.
Don't jump
strictly
without looking. Make sure that you take your risks are calculated, because if you're homebrewing in your garage and hey, I'm going to go full on, and you have some form of investor, you just have the money to start. You got to be able, whatever money you put out, you got to be able to recoup really quickly, or otherwise, there's a lot of businesses, not saying breweries, but there's a lot of businesses out there that do that.
Oh,
and they put so much into it right out of the gate, and then they find themselves floundering just trying to make it work,
Yeah, because, and that's the thing with beer. Beer's not something like, okay, I'm going to open and I have as much as I want. It's like you can't just open a bar or a restaurant or a brewery and then expect to have top-notch quality product that people are going to enjoy. You might have it out of the chute. I'm not saying you will, but you might have it. But once a month or two goes by and demand outsources fucking resources, you're fucked. You're like, what am I going to produce? What am I going to give people?
It's that, and when we first started homebrewing, and we thought, it'd be so awesome to open up a brewery. Let's do it. But then you gotta have a business sense too. We've learned so much about business over the years, like in accounting and everything. There's, the actual brewing only accounts for like a quarter percent of our time. Everything else is, there's taxes that you're filing like twice a month. There's every month. There's this. Like on the business side, you have to be smart with that too. And you can't just think, oh, I'm just going to make beer and that's it. I mean, you do that, but you have to do 100 other things to make the whole process fit together.
And the more you can do yourself,
yes,
is going to help you a lot.
If you could weld, plumb, electric, if you could do all that stuff, you don't have to shell out money for someone to do it for you. And luckily, we've learned quite a bit over the years on how to do all those things. So, so you got to wear a lot of hats. Let's put it that way.
Awesome.
And drink a lot of beers.
Well, that doesn't suck.
No.
You have to reap the reward of your conquest. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yes.
In the grand scheme of things, you gotta.
That's really the only reason people ask why you started making beer, and it's just so we could have beer on tap in our fridges all the time. That's fine.
Well, you've accomplished that in fucking spades, so.
Yeah, really.
Oh yeah.
Good. That's good.
Awesome. So, what do you think, Joe?
Well, let's see.
You got any more questions?
I do. Let's backtrack a little bit. How did you guys decide on Breaker? I mean, Matt and I both kind of know, but like for people who don't live in the Northeast Pennsylvania area, how did you come about the name Breaker?
Well, this area is famous for coal mining, and the coal breaker was something that you would see on the horizon everywhere in this area, and like a not so distant past either. Go back, say 50, 60 years, and that's the heritage of the people that are originally from this valley, and we thought,
well, if coal powered the Industrial Revolution around, from this area, we got to be able to give some props back to the guys who made that happen.
Yep. There's some things that we're reading early on with brewing and opening up and branding and all that type of stuff. And we wanted to get a connection to the people that are from this area. It didn't hurt that my father has collected old-time photos and views of Wyoming Valley and coal mining scene and all that type of stuff. If you come down to our pub, we have all the artwork all over the place. But it's just like a lot of brewers that open up, and they'll like, if you're a brewery at the beach, you'll open up something that's beach themed. So what do we have coal themed?
So we did it for the free pictures.
We did it for free pictures.
Yeah. Did you find it easier with that connection already being made? Did you find it easier getting your name out there? People can already connect with like the kind of coal mining background.
I don't know if that was it. I think it was more of timing than anything. Like we were very lucky with the timing of starting this. We were like one of the first in this area of being a nano brewery when we started. That I think was, there was one other brewery in the area at the time when we started.
Yeah, it was
Stegmeyer, and that was it. We were like the only other brewery in town. And people were just excited to hear that there was another brewery starting. So that worked out, I'd say, a lot. As for Breaker, the Breaker Brewing,
it was a neat. I mean, a lot of breweries come up with strange off-the-wall names, different things for their beers, but we wanted to have like one
common direction
to for the decor for our place, for the names for our beer, for all that type of stuff. Plus, it brings up conversations like, well, why do you call it this, or why do you call it that, or what is that? It's just it's a neat thing. I mean, one of those things. It's not terrible. You could have a fantastic beer, and the name of it is XYZ Brewery IPA, and it's like, well, that's not creative at all. And you don't have to. I mean, it's really all about beer, how good the beer is, but it's also neat if there's a story behind it. And we thought, well, this would be really cool to have a story behind our name.
We like stories.
So, but that was it. And like it's everybody's father or grandfather in this area was a coal miner. So there's a connection. When people come up here, they talk about, my grandfather was a coal miner at this particular one, and they ask, what coal breaker is on for your logo and this and that, and like and people bring stuff up for us. They bring us gifts, old coal mine lanterns and hats and things like that, and it's cool. We just put the stuff on display. But it makes a really neat and interesting topic, I guess. So,
have you ever had anybody from outside of the area come up and like tell you like stories of like family mining history or anything like that?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You'll always get someone come in from out of town, and say they're from West Virginia, and there's some people that come in here that are actually still miners.
Yeah.
And they come in and just they love the place. They love the history. They love how we're basically everything like the names. Everything is related to coal mining. So they think that's awesome.
Although, as of recent, not a lot of the names are of our experimental beers. But if we put one that's full on out, it'll always have a coal mine name to it. So.
I think that about does it for at least the questions that I have. Do you have anything else you want to?
No, I think we could. I think I actually went pretty fucking awesome. You guys plug yourselves. Tell everybody where the fuck they can find you. Address, social media, website, phone number, fucking social security numbers, like whatever you want to throw out there.
Tell them where we're at, Chris.
All right. We are at 787 East Northampton Street in Wilkes-barre Township, Pennsylvania. It's the former St. Joseph's School. If you're driving up East Northampton Street, turn on to make a left, right onto Lehigh Street, and then another right into our parking lot. www.breakerbrewingcompany.com, all spelled out. Pretty annoying, but that's our webpage. And Facebook Breaker Brewing, we update that every day we're open. We'll give you the food menu and the beer menu. Twitter at Breaker Brew. I think that's it for social media.
That's it.
There was something else there, but I don't think we use it. Anyway, the beer list and everything is updated on our webpage almost every day. The date is listed when it was last updated. So sometimes we let it go. We're too busy.
And every Saturday there's a different firkin ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, firkin Saturday.
Saturday.
If only Saturday was Friday, and then you can rhyme firkin with Friday. It'd be awesome. It's awesome. That was a blast, dude. I had a good time.
Cool. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right,
absolutely. Yeah, and I'm sure we'll see you guys soon enough.
All right.
Cheers.
Joe, that was pretty killer stuff, actually.
Yep.
I don't know what else to say.
That's good.
Yeah, I think just do our own regular plugging nonsense, and then I think we're pretty much done.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll see you next time you're in.
All right.
Cheers, guys.
See you guys.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.
So what else you got going for the rest of the day, Joe? Anything fantastic?
No, gonna do some homework and then pretty much just chill out.
Nice. So yeah, man, that was a pretty. I think that went actually. Not to say that I didn't expect it to go well, but I think it went better than I expected. Let's put it that way.
No one dropped a call, and by saying that, I'm now gonna drop.
Yes, that will happen.
Yeah, but no one dropped. It was. I think this was pretty good. I think look out for I'm gonna assume 2 or 3 people that are watching, and to folks that watch afterwards, look out for more of these. I think this was a
and
good
anybody,
change-up.
If you're in northeastern Pennsylvania, the northeastern United States traveling through, you definitely should check out Breaker. I mean, like Absolutely. I mentioned, if you didn't watch the whole thing or didn't catch it, I actually don't get to go there that often, even though I live about a 10-minute walk away from them. Only because of my schedule at work, and it sucks because I really enjoy their beers. So, but anybody that is in this area, definitely look them up. Like you said, breakerbrewingcompany.com. They're on Facebook, Twitter. They're not on Instagrams, though. The Instagram, not Instagrams. It's not with an S. Those rat bastards. But yeah, definitely, you should definitely check them out. They make fantastic beers. Awesome dudes doing it the right way. And yeah, I couldn't drum them up enough because they're just
exactly
good dudes that make good beer.
Yeah, they are. I try to go there at least once when I'm home. I'll try to go in for lunch and like hang out for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Next week, not sure what we're going to talk about next week. It won't be a brewery spotlight. It'll be just a regular generic show. And we'll
listening to us yammer on for an hour.
Yeah, figure out topics for next week. If you'd like to join the panel, we usually try to have at least, if not one, max 2 people per show. So if you want to be on the show, let us know at least a couple days in advance, and then we'll let you know what's what and all the subject matter and all that stuff.
I kind of laid it out in last week's episode. Let us know by at least Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah. Because we're doing this on Monday, let us know if you want to come on by at least Wednesday. That way we can shoot you what we're talking about. You can kind of start thinking about if you want to come on, what you're going to contribute discussion wise. And just let us know a couple days, Tuesday, Wednesday, typically when I set the episodes up.
Nice. And yeah, so hopefully guys, if you ever want to be on here, let us know and we'll tell you yes or no. You'll hate us or you'll love us. And then that's pretty much it. As far as other shit, if you want to check out my other shit on the internet, Massive Beer Reviews, Massive Beers, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on tap. Joe?
NEPA Beer Reviews.squarespace.com for our website, and Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at NEPA Beer Reviews. And
you can check out this this Google Hangout if on my channel on there, or if you want to check it out just audio only, you can go on iTunes or Stitcher and check out Love Beer Radio, and you can find it out there. So there you go. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing stuff from a really nice local brewery from us, Breaker Brewing, and
we talked them up a lot, and now you've seen the faces behind the brewery that we talk up.
And hope to see you guys next time. Cheers.
Cheers.